जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दना व्रजनरञ्जन नन्दना व्रजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरा वनचारि यमुनतीरा वनचारि। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for joining. And before moving ahead, we'll start with Mangalacharna prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्री श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सहगजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, Canto 3, chapter 29, text 42 and 43. Shravanti Sarito, Shravanti Sarito Bhita, Nospar, Ar, Notsarpati, Udadhiryata, Agnir Inde, Sagiribhir, Bhurna Majjati, Yad Bhayat, Shravanti Sarito Bhita, Notsar Pati Udadhiryata Agnir Indhe Sa Giribhir Bhurna Majjati Yad Bhayat Shravanti Sarito Bhita Notsar Pati Udadhiryata Agnir Inde Sa Giribhir Bhurna Majjati Yad Bhayat. Synonyms: Shravanti flow, Sarita rivers, Bhita fearful, Na not, Utsarpati overflows, Udadhi the ocean, Yataha because of whom, Agni fire, Inde burns, Sagiribhi with its mountains, Bhu the earth, Na not, Majjati sings, Yat of whom, Bhayat out of fear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the rivers flow and the oceans never overflows. Out of fear of Him only does fire burn and does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe. We can understand from the Vedic literature that this universe is half filled with water, on which Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is lying. From his abdomen, a lotus flower has grown, and within the stem of that lotus flower, all the different planets exist. The material scientists explain that all these different planets are floating because of the law of the gravity or some other law. But the actual lawmaker is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we speak of law, we must understand that there must be a lawmaker. The material scientists can discover laws of nature, but they are unable to recognize the lawmaker. From Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we can know who the lawmaker is. The lawmaker is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said here that the planets do not sink since they are floating under the order or energy of the Supreme Godhead. They do not fall down into the water which covers half the universe. All the planets are heavy with their various mountains, seas, oceans, cities, places, and buildings, and yet they are floating. It is understood from this passage that all the other planets that are floating in the air have oceans and mountains similar to those on this planet. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरये. शुश्रूषो श्रद्दधानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचि स्यान्मत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यश्रवण पुण्यतीर्थानिषेवनात् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सत्प्रत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भावा कामलोभादयश्च ये चेतयेतैरनावृत्तं सितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदयानन्देस् सर्वसंशय क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. So I will read the today's verse one more time. Shravanti sarito bhita नोत्सर्पति उदधीर्यता अग्निर इंदे स गिरिभिर भूरमज्जति यद्भयात्. In this verse, I think the key words are bhita and bhayat. We will know a little more about them soon. Both are related to the fear. Bhita and bhayat both refer to, Prabhupada translates bhita as fearful, bhayat as out of fear. Right? So we'll know why this verse is talking about fear. So for that, we need to know a little more about the context. So in chapter 25, Mother Devahuti asks Lord Kapila 4 questions. In fact, that forms the next 3-4 chapters of discussions by Lord Kapila explaining about Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, right? And then after that, in beginning of chapter 29, Mother Devahuti asks again 3 more questions, right? So one of the question is we can say it's question 6 because total 7 questions so far. Question 6 is about the nature of time. She asks the Lord about explaining the nature of time. So now this section where Lord Kapila describes this section starts on text that is 7 of this chapter and it goes all the way until text 45. Right now we are in 42 and 43. We are going to discuss that. So basically, these texts are the part of the answer that Lord Kapila is giving to Mother Devahuti regarding the nature of time. So the now time is the cause, one of the cause of the creation. That's what the Lord starts to explaining in the beginning of the creation. The time goes with the glance of the Lord and starts creating the material world. And this time is also a form of the energy. And this form of the energy is what is fearful here. That's what is mentioned here. It's energy of the Lord. Because of this time factor, everyone is fearful and everyone follows their own natures or the duties because of the fear of this time factor of the Lord. So that is why it's mentioned here, out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is indirectly referring to the time factor, the time energy of the Lord. Everybody, out of fear of this time factor of the Lord, the rivers flow and the oceans never overflow. Out of the fear of him only does fire burn and does the earth with its mountains not sink in the water of the universe. And Prabhupada explains this last sentence much more in detail in the purport. So we'll read the purport to dive a little more deeper. We can understand from Vedic literature that this universe is half filled with water, on which Garbhodaga Sai Vishnu is lying. From his abdomen, a lotus flower has grown, and within the stem of that lotus flower, all the different planets exist. The material scientist explains that all these different planets are floating because of the law of gravity or some other law. So now we can see that here, Prabhupada is bringing the context of the creation of the material world, in the beginning of the material world. So uh, when the initial egg, the egg of the universal shell forms, uh, uh, the Lord enters into that and uh, and starts creating the universal form. Uh, so uh, that particular feature of the Lord is Garbhodagashai Vishnu, where he is lying in the ocean of the Garbhodagashai. Uh, oh, right. Yeah. So, uh, in fact, those waters also actually created by the Lord only. There is description in Bhagavatam, I think, if I remember. So once the universal shell is filled with half, then the Lord lies into that ocean, and then the lotus flower starts growing, and all the planetary systems, the nine planetary systems, are within the stem. The topmost being the lotus flower itself, where the Lord Brahma resides. That's the Brahmaloka. Now, all these planets, in a way, if you see, they're kind of floating. Even we can see, even in the material scientific vision also, all the planets are apparently floating. Uh, Even though their theory is a little different from Bhagavatam's theory, essentially they are floating. So here Prabhupada is immediately bringing that concept that the material scientist explains that all these different planets are floating because of the law of gravity or the other law. But actually, the lawmaker is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one of the uh, uh, biggest drawback or the blind spot, we can say, of the modern scientific theory is that they don't go beyond the law itself that they have discovered. So they just stop there that how this is the law, and that's how the law is working, and this is the material nature works with this law. But they don't question who is making that law. So Prabhupada is bringing here that material scientists can discover laws of nature, but they are unable to recognize the lawmaker. But uh, Vedic literature, particularly for us Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they are very emphatic about the creator and the lawmaker uh, of the material universe. That is Krishna, Lord Krishna himself. Of course, he in this case they're talking about the energy of the Lord, time factor. So, but I don't think it matters much in the context of creation. Essentially, the Lord's hand is there for the creation. Mm. You move on to the second paragraph. It is said here that planets do not sink since they are floating under the order or energy of the order or energy of the Supreme Godhead. Hmm. They do not fall down into the water which covers half the universe. So this is a simple material logic that on the earthly planet system, at least, if something we throw into the sky, it will come down, right? Uh, as a child, we must have played this game, throwing the ball up in the air. So whatever we throw up, it comes down, right? So, so similarly, all these planets are so heavy with all these elements, material elements, and mountains, seas, oceans, and cities, palaces, and buildings. That must be them. They're really heavy, so they must be falling down somewhere, right? And because beneath the planetary systems, the water of the Garbhodakashayi ocean is there, so that means they should be falling into them. So that's why Prabhupada is saying is that, uh, but they're not falling into those oceans. Apparently, it actually happened, right? In the story of Hiranyaksha, when Hiranyaksha, one version is that when Hiranyaksha uh, mined all the gold from the earthly planetary system, so the earth becomes unstable and it fell off into the ocean, Garbhodakashayi ocean, isn't it? So that's why Lord Varaha appears to recover the earth from the ocean and puts it back into the earth's position back again. So the of course there are other versions also. I think if I remember correctly, when Lord Brahma asks, uh, forgot who is the first son.
Fine, Bhoma.
Swayambhuma, yes, to rule the uh, earthly planetary system. When he goes there, the earth was not present there. Then he asks Brahma that I don't find it. Then Brahma says, Brahma's from the Brahma's uh, nose, I think somewhere. Lord Varaha appears and then he goes into the ocean and he brings it back. So there, I think two, three versions of the story. So, so by this we can understand that actually, if some disturbance happens, Earth will fall down, and all the planetary systems will fall and go sink into the ocean of Garbhodakashayi ocean, right? But because of the energy of the Lord, all these planets are floating. And in fact, the Lord proves, Lord Varaha proves that he brings it back and again places it in its position so that it will float again. So that is some explanation about this verse, and we will move on to the next verse, 43. नाबोददाति स्वशतां पदं यन् नियमादद लोकं स्वदेहं तनुते महान् सप्ताभिरावृतम्. Translation purport. Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets, which holds innumerable living entities. The total universal body expands with its seven coverings under his supreme control. Purport. It is understood from this verse that all the planets in outer space are floating and they all hold living entities. The word Swashata means those who breathe are the living entities. In order to accommodate them, there are innumerable planets. Every planet is a residence of innumerable living entities, and the necessary space is provided in the sky by the supreme order of the Lord. It is also stated here that the total universal body is increasing. It is covered by seven layers, and as there are five elements within the universe, so the total elements in the layer cover the outside of the universal body. The first layer is Earth, and it is 10 times greater in size than the space within the universe. The second layer is water, and that is 10 times greater than the earthly layer. And the third covering is fire, which is 10 times greater than the water covering. In this way, each layer is 10 times greater than the previous one. So here again, the Lord Kapila is explaining in this verse the nature of time, how time energy um, in the process of creation assists the Lord in keeping the material universe in its place. The previous verse we talked about how the time energy, uh, because of the time energy, all the planets float out of fear of the time energy. Now here, I think looks like how the sky itself, the outer coverings, hold the planets without flying away, right? Subject to the control of the Supreme Personality Godhead, the sky allows outer space to accommodate all the various planets. In the previous uh, uh, was also similar. It's just the floating aspect is given. Here it is the outer covering aspect. Within the outer covering, all the planets situate, right? And within these planets, all the living entities live. So essentially, during the process of the creation, the total universal body, which is the Lord Himself, expands with its seven coverings under His supreme control. So the universe grows uh, under the under the supreme energy of the time energy of the Lord. Now here, uh, uh, Prabhupada is saying that the universal body is increasing. That happens during the time of the creation. And also, interestingly, it is covered by the seven layers. And as there are five elements within the universe, so the total elements in the layers cover the outside of the universal body. So these seven layers, I was trying to find out there are apparently these different answers are there at the different places. I'm sure there must be some explanation why there is differences. I'm not sure yet. I was also thinking in our Vedic literature, there are many um, numbers, significance of the many numbers. Like there are many threes, like three gunas, three energies of the Lord, right? So similarly, there are different fours, Chaturvarnam. There are different fives, uh, numbers. I'm sure there are sixes also, then there are sevens. So sevens, I could remember one of these is mentioned in this verse itself, seven layers of the universe, Saptabhi, seven layers. And there are seven oceans described, and then there are seven gates of Vaikuntha is described, right? And there are many sevens in our Vedic literature. I think if you take any number, and there are some few descriptions of that, uh, the nines, the eights, like that. So, uh, if you know any other sevens, uh, uh, we can discuss a little later. But first, this seven layers is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 26. Again, Kapila Muni's answer, text 52. He explains here. This universal egg, or the universe in the shape of an egg, is called the manifestation of material energy. Its layers of water, air, fire, sky, ego, and Mahatattva increase in thickness one after the another. So there are here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are there. Each layer is 10 times bigger than the previous one. And the final outside layer is covered by Pradhan. So the final layer is the seventh layer is a Pradhan. Within this egg is the universal form of Lord Hari, of whose body the 14 planetary systems are parts. So this verse is very much related to the today's text, both the 42 and 43. Both are talking about the planets, how they're floating, they're not falling into the ocean, and also they're within the covering of the sky. Within this covering, seven coverings, this sky, all these planetary systems are located. Right. And we are talking about the seven layers. What are those seven layers? So in this verse, Kapila Muni explains those seven layers are water, air, fire, sky, ego. These four are gross elements, and ego is a subtle element. And Mahatattva and Pradhan, they are the beginning of the creation. They are the primordial elements which get created. Pradhan is the unmanifested, whereas Mahatattva is differentiated. All the elements differentiated, but still they're within one aspect of primordial soup. They call it, I think, Mahatattva. So, and there is another place where Prabhupada explains, uh, yeah, this is text 9 of chapter 32, similar description, but different elements. After experience the inhabitable time of the three modes of material nature, known as the two pararthas, the Lord Brahma closes the material universe, which is covered by layers of earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, ego, etc., and goes back to Godhead. Here, the number is not given, but essentially, I think when the time comes, the two pararthas, Lord Brahma winds up the universe, and all these layers uh, goes back to the Godhead within the Garbhodakashaya Vishnu's body, right? So here those layers are mentioned as earth, water, whereas in the earlier list of 326 earth was not there. But again, in 329, which is 43 today's verse, Prabhupada is explaining that the first layer is earth. So, so there is uh, some differences in the descriptions at different places, but I don't think it matters so much. Essentially, the universe is covered by these layers. So uh, I was just digging a little deeper into what are these 7 layers, but I couldn't find definitely these are the 7 layers. So, okay. Uh, uh, with that, I would like to conclude with today's verses, text 42 and 43. To bring the context, Lord Kapila is explaining about the nature of the time. And because of the nature of time, time's energy factor, out of fear of this energy, the planets float without falling into the ocean of Garbhodakashaya ocean. And at the same time, because of this energy only, all the planets situated within the sky of these layers, within the layers of the uh, egg of the universal form. These 7 layers, Prabhupada explains here, each layer is 10 times bigger than the previous layer. So that means the universe must be really, really big, right? So, and there are innumerable universes like that in this material world. So with that, I want to conclude. Thank you very much, devotees, for patiently uh, attending this reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. If you have any discussion, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So I was just thinking, I mean, out of because of the fear of time, only everything happens in this material world, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think, Chintamani Mataji's class, or we were reading the other day, I think, yeah, when Sanatana Prabhu was not able to do class, yeah. So, out of fear only, right? I mean, everything happens in this world. I mean, because of the time energy. So, that kind of uh, uh, destroys everything, right? Because of that fear. I mean, I think, yeah, everything that we do, because the time is kind of the one which is kind of moving us, right? So,
Yes.
and it's because when you are reading this translation, So I was thinking, I mean, yeah, if somebody else reads, right? I mean, what is the reason that uh, I mean, the planets are floating, or uh, whatever is happening is because of gravitational force or whatever people name it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that is the name that somebody has given it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but I mean, who is behind that energy? I think you started talking about, I mean, how people go still there, right? What is the law? But then people doesn't go beyond that law. Who is that
Mm-hmm.
lawmaker?
Yeah.
Thinking, Prabhu, yeah, it was nice, but I think because then actually because of this uh, fear factor, I mean, uh, for a person who doesn't understand the lawmaker, it is kind of very scary, right? For a person who understands the lawmaker very well, right? I mean, of course, right? Then for them, it is, it is somebody acting on it, right? I mean, it's not kind of very scary, right? I mean, the body is decaying, or the things are destroying, or right, whatever is happening. For a person who is knows that okay, there is a supreme lord's hand is there, he is the lawmaker, so things will be much easier. So bro, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Actually, I think those verses are coming next. I think you are.
Oh, okay.
So I think Kapila
I
Muni,
didn't,
either
I
this
don't
chapter or
remember,
previous
but
chapter, I don't remember, but it comes saying that the time is so powerful, but for devotees, I don't think it would have uh, uh, the same effect as a fear factor, which is driving the entire life and material planets, as you are saying, right? Majority of this people's life is the the subconsciously, the fear is the one which is driving everything, whatever they do, because they're fearful when they will die, one aspect, or when things will change, or when things will be getting out of control, right? Because time changes everything in the material nature.
mm,
Yeah. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for bringing that point.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Das Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Sorry, I'm using Chintamani Mataji's phone here. Um, so I was just wondering when I couldn't listen to everything, but I at least for a few, maybe 5-10 minutes, I was listening on what you said. So my reflection on this is I'm still exploring the material world,
Mm-hmm.
right? The whole description of what you, I think, what you understand, what we understand from this verse and what you're saying, the planets, and then it's basically a person like me or a baby born in this material world.
Mm-hmm.
She start, he or she will start exploring. The first thing comes, people, parents give is the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
To explore.
Yeah.
And then they, and the family members give more and more to get entangled in this material world. So what happens is we are still exploring the material world, and the time takes away everything. By the time you explore, by end of our lives, you are still exploring the material world.
Mm.
So time, nobody knows when the time comes, but we keep exploring the material world, right? So I was just, for my reflection on this topic was, when do I get even think about Krishna or getting into the spiritual realm, when we are somebody exploring the material world? And Brahma and even he has not seen the Goloka. Of course, he has seen. Otherwise, why can he say the Brahma Samhita prayers? But basically, I'm telling, the demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they cannot understand Krishna. And who are we to understand Krishna? And so the exploration of material world will lead where he is again into material world, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So the how much we explore, we keep exploring. So
Yes.
our desire in our heart say, oh, I have not seen this, I have not seen that. So we have to take birth again to see that.
Yes, Prabhu.
So from the right from the Brahma Bhuvana Loka Purnavartino Arjuna Mamupetita Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. So I keep exploring from Brahma Loka to Patala Loka to back somewhere. As long as I have the credit limit, I keep taking. The more you get credit, I'll go higher up, just like the credit miles. Same thing, the credit points. I'll go from the earth all the way to the topmost planet to explore what is here, what is there. But end of the day, nothing comes satisfying.
Yes,
So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Krishna, Brahma gives. He created the whole universe, of course, and he might be still exploring. I'm just thinking.
yes.
Anyway, Prabhu, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Thank you
man.
very much, Prabhu, for bringing that point. That material world, even though it's fearful because we don't know what happens next, but it also somehow creates this wonder that it puts us in a space where we want to explore, we want to see, because we're not satisfied with the current level of happiness, or so we keep exploring, right? Like you were saying, and that explanation never stops, and which will lead us to go through this cycle of birth and death again and again. We are always stuck here. Yeah, fortunately, I think uh, uh, Lord provides a solution also. I'm thinking because this is Kartik month, uh, Nalakuar and Manigriva, they are, I think, in a way representing that exploration mentality, are enjoying, or uh, right, trying to exploit the material nature, like, oh, what would the max I can get out of it, thing. But somehow they get delivered. How did they get delivered? Because they are in the form of the trees in the backyard of Nanda Maharaj, right? And they're morning, evening, night, every day they are seeing the pastimes of the Lord, childhood pastimes of the Lord, right? As a Bala Gopala. And essentially, uh, it's equivalent to reading Srimad Bhagavatam, right? In the sense, uh, they're seeing the pastimes directly. We are seeing the pastimes in terms of Bhagavatam, because those pastimes are described in Bhagavatam. So, in that sense, we have the opportunity. I think that Bhagavatam is one of the primary means for us to get out of this uh, material world, get out of this wonder, the way you were telling, exploration mentality of the material world, and be satisfied with the Lord's uh, beauty. When we understand Him, probably all that exploration stops, and like Nalakuar and Manikriva, uh, they got delivered. So we might also get delivered. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Only fortunate souls, sir. Not everyone. Hare Krishna.
That's what we are praying, right? Just as easily as you have delivered Manikriva and Nalakwara, please deliver me also in uh, every day we are singing that song. Of course, it's not easy, but yeah, that's the prayer. Thank you, Prabhu. I think with that, we will conclude our today's reading session. Thank you very much, devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare